Okay, be honest. How many times have you swiped right and thought, what was it about them? Like, was it their amazing sense of humor or that impressive job title? Or maybe you just chalked it up to the algorithm.
Right.
But what if, and you're ready for this, your ancient ancestors actually had something to do with it?
Okay, now I'm intrigued.
You sent us this fascinating research paper, Phenotypic Patterns in Human Mate Selection.
Yeah.
And it basically says our love lives are shaped by how humans lived thousands of years ago, way before dating apps, or even that awkward first date at a coffee shop.
Thousands of years ago. That's going way back.
We're talking hunters and gatherers, farmers, pastoralists, the whole shebang.
Okay, so buckle me up because I need to know how that's impacting who I'm swiping right on now.
So, you know how we talk about survival of the fittest? Well, get ready for sexual selection.
Oh, I like where this is going.
It's not just about surviving. It's about passing on your genes. So even if a trait doesn't scream survival, if it helps you attract a mate, well, you see how that would be a win for evolution.
Makes sense. So it's all about finding the best partner to make some awesome offspring, survival of the sexiest.
Think of the peacock's tail. Gorgeous, right? But not exactly helpful when hiding from a lion.
True. Very true.
So why risk it? To impress the ladies, obviously.
A feathery billboard that says, look at these genes.
Right. And while we humans don't have those flashy feathers, we do have our own ways of signaling to potential mates.
Okay, so, like, what are we talking here? A good sense of humor, killer dance moves, spill the tea.
Exactly. Humor, intelligence, kindness, even resources. They can all be attractive because they hint at good genes or good parenting, or the ability to contribute to a partnership.
Right, right. Showing you'd be a good catch. Now, I do remember something about different types of sexual selection. Wasn't that Darwin?
Absolutely. Intrasexual and intersexual selection.
Oh, yeah, those are the ones. It's like competition versus choice. Right.
Exactly. Intrasexual is like two stags with those huge antlers battling it out for dominance to mate with the females.
Gotcha. So it's all about who's the strongest or most impressive, and then intersexual selection is.
It's more like the females getting to be picky. They check out the males and decide who they find most appealing. Think peacocks strutting their stuff.
A mating dance-off. So fascinating how nature works. But there's got to be more to the puzzle, right?
There is.
Yeah.
Let's talk about assortative mating.
Assortative mating. That's a mouthful.
It means we tend to partner up with people similar to us. And it's not just a modern thing. It's woven into our evolutionary history.
So, like, we're drawn to people who are like us in some way.
You've probably noticed this. Couples often seem to share similarities, whether it's their height, education level, sense of humor, even political views sometimes.
Now that you mention it, yeah. My best friend and her husband are both super outdoorsy, and they're always off on some adventure together.
There's some fascinating reasons for this. Meeting with someone genetically similar can increase the chances of passing on those desired traits to offspring.
Okay, that makes sense. Strong genes, healthy babies. But it's got to be more than just that, right?
It is. Assortative mating also promotes cooperation and shared values, which are pretty important for raising a family, wouldn't you say? When you and your partner are on the same page, it just makes for a smoother, more harmonious partnership.
Totally. You need that teamwork, that understanding, especially with a family. But so far, we've been talking about visible things, like how someone looks or their personality. What about the stuff we can't see? Are we picking up on those cues too?
That's a great question. Have you ever heard of pheromones?
Pheromones, like that love potion stuff. I'm all ears.
It's like a secret language of attraction. They're well documented in the animal world, but their role in human attraction is still a bit of a mystery.
So we might be using pheromones to scope out potential mates, but we're not really sure yet. That's wild.
Right. And this paper suggests humans might even have senses we haven't fully discovered yet.
Whoa, hold on. Senses we don't even know about. That's blowing my mind a little bit.
But let's reel it back in and talk about these phenotypes, because this is where the research gets really interesting. The paper proposes 4 main types of human phenotypes based on those ancient lifestyles we were talking about: farmers, pastoralists, hunters, and gatherers.
Okay, this is what I'm here for. Break it down for me.
And it argues that even though most of us aren't literally farming or hunting anymore, those ancient adaptations might still be playing out in our personalities and who we're attracted to today.
Wait, so you're saying that deep down I'm either a farmer, a pastoralist, a hunter, or a gatherer, and that's impacting my dating life in 2024?
You got it. Ready to meet your inner farmer, pastoralist, hunter, or gatherer.
Lead the way. Let's uncover these ancient dating instincts.
Awesome. Let's start with the farmers. Imagine them as the ultimate planners and organizers. They love stability, tradition, dependability. Remember what we said about assortative mating?
Like attracts like?
Exactly. Farmers are drawn to those who share that love of stability, tradition, dependability.
Okay, so farmers are into other farmers. That tracks. They like to know what to expect, like a well-organized spreadsheet.
Totally. And they probably color code their calendars.
Oh, 100%. And now what about these pastoralists? Are they out there living on a farm too?
Not exactly. If farmers are about putting down roots, pastoralists are about embracing the open road. They're adventurous, dynamic, always up for a challenge.
So like the nomads of the dating world, always on the move, seeking new experiences.
Think of them like the free spirits of the world. Adaptable, resourceful, and comfortable with risk, just like their nomadic ancestors who moved their herds across vast landscapes.
That's so interesting. So you're saying that a farmer and a pastoralist probably wouldn't be a match made in heaven?
It's more like they'd be attracted to different things in a partner. One values stability and predictability, while the other thrives on spontaneity and new experiences.
Gotcha. Opposites attract doesn't really apply here. But the world wasn't just farmers and pastoralists, right? What about the OG survivalists, the hunters and gatherers?
Now, their mating preferences get really interesting because they often buck the trend of like attracts like.
Really? So they're not looking for their carbon copies. Tell me more.
It's like the universe's way of maintaining balance. Hunters, with their laser focus, their ability to analyze, strategize, they're drawn to gatherers who bring warmth, empathy, and a deep understanding of human emotions.
Okay, that's a fascinating dynamic. So it's like each type brings something different to the table, and together they create this amazing, balanced partnership.
Exactly. Think about it. For thousands of years, hunters and gatherers lived in close-knit communities, and each played a crucial role in their survival. It makes sense that their mating preferences would reflect that deep-seated interdependence.
Well, I'm already starting to see these patterns everywhere. So we've got farmers, pastoralists, hunters, and gatherers, each with their own unique style. But who are these people in the modern world, and what makes them tick? Tell me everything.
Let's start with hunters. They're the ones who love to take things apart to understand how they work. Drawn to complex problems, and they have a knack for finding creative solutions. Think modern-day detectives, scientists, inventors.
Ooh, the brains of the operation. Always asking why and figuring out how things work. Love that energy. Okay, now tell me about these gatherers. I'm so curious about the heart-centered folks drawn to those hunter types.
Think of gatherers as the heart-centered healers of the world. They bring people together, make everyone feel seen, understood, and they genuinely care about creating a more harmonious world.
They sound like the best kind of people, the ones who are always there for you no matter what.
Exactly. Intuitive, compassionate, deeply in tune with their own emotions and those of others.
Okay, I am loving this. So we've got our four main players: farmers, pastoralists, hunters, and gatherers, each with their own unique adaptations, personalities, and even dating preferences. And this is all because of our ancient ancestors. Mind-blowing.
And it's not just ancient history. This paper argues that these ancient ways of life could still be playing out in your love life today.
Okay, I am officially freaking out a little bit. So are you telling me that my love life is being dictated by my inner hunter-gatherer instincts? This is huge.
That's just the tip of the iceberg. We'll explore how these phenotypes interact, what happens when different types collide, and how you can use all of this to understand your own love life better. But we'll save all of that for the next part of our deep dive. Okay, so by now you're probably wondering how all of this plays out in the real world. Like, why am I constantly swiping left on those free-spirited adventurers when I'm a total homebody?
Right, like how does knowing about farmers and pastoralists actually help me in the dating game? Spill the tea.
And that brings us to a fascinating concept this paper explores: the positive manifold of desirability.
Positive manifold.
Okay, you lost me a little.
It's simpler than it sounds. Have you ever noticed how our brains link positive traits together, even if they're not always connected in reality?
Oh, 100%. Like if someone is super attractive, we assume they're also smart, funny, and successful. Exactly. It's a mental shortcut. And while those assumptions aren't always true, it shapes how we decide who's a catch.
Makes sense. So how does this positive manifold thing connect to the farmers, pastoralists, and everyone else?
Well, the paper argues that each of those phenotypes, farmers, pastoralists, hunters, gatherers, develop their own flavor of this positive manifold based on what was considered desirable in their respective environments.
Okay, I think I'm following. So it's not just about general desirability, it's about what's attractive within each of those groups based on their history and what helped them survive.
Exactly. Think about the farmers. They relied on stability, cooperation, long-term planning to, cultivate their crops.
Right, they needed to be organized and dependable.
So naturally, they started valuing those same things in their partners.
So for a farmer, a dependable, loyal, hardworking partner is super attractive. Someone who's a good provider, a team player.
Exactly. Now think about pastoralists or nomadic adventurers. They needed partners who could handle that lifestyle, resourceful, adaptable, maybe even a little fearless.
Right, someone who can think on their feet, embrace the unknown, not afraid of a little risk.
And here's where it gets really wild. Remember how hunters and gatherers are drawn to complementary traits? Their positive manifolds reflect that beautifully.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about this. I love a good opposites attract situation.
Hunters, with their sharp minds, problem-solving identities, they're drawn to gatherers who bring warmth, empathy, that emotional depth.
That makes so much sense. It's like the hunter brings the logic and focus, and the gatherer brings the heart and connection, a perfect balance.
And for the gatherers, those hunter traits, the focus, the drive, the ability to analyze, those are attractive because they complement their own strengths so well.
Each type is drawn to what they're missing. That's such a cool concept. So you're saying that even though we're not living the same way our ancestors did, those deep-seated preferences are still influencing who we're drawn to today.
This research takes us beyond evolutionary biology. It connects those ancient lifestyles to something called Jungian personality types.
Jungian personality types. Okay, we're getting deep now. Bring on the Psych 101.
Jungian psychology categorizes people based on their cognitive preferences, how they perceive the world, process information, make decisions.
So, like, are you a thinker or a feeler? That kind of thing.
And you get this, these Jungian types map surprisingly well onto our 4 phenotypes.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying that our ancient ancestors' ways of life are embedded in our personalities, even influencing which Jungian type we're likely to be? That's wild.
Exactly. And the parallels are amazing. In Jungian psychology, there are 4 main temperaments: guardians, artisans, rationals, and idealists, each lining up with one of our phenotypes.
Okay, so break it down for me. Which Jungian type goes with which phenotype?
Guardians, with their love of structure, tradition, clear rules, they sound a lot like our farmers, wouldn't you say?
Guardians, farmers. Yeah, I can totally see that. They both value stability, predictability. They're the ones who make lists and actually enjoy sticking to a schedule.
Absolutely. And they're reliable, practical, always prepared.
The friend who always remembers your birthday and sends a handwritten thank you note?
And then you have the artisans, our free-spirited adventurers. They thrive on spontaneity, new experiences, the life of the party.
Ooh, the artisans sound fun.
Oh.
Always up for a good time, living in the moment, just like our pastoralists.
Exactly. They're adaptable, energetic, always ready for the unexpected.
And they bring that same energy to their relationships, right? They don't want to be tied down by too many rules.
Now let's talk about the rationals. If you haven't already guessed it, there are hunters, the thinkers, the innovators.
The ones who are always asking why, trying to figure out how the world works.
They love a good debate, can't resist a brain teaser, and they approach relationships with that same intellectual curiosity.
So if you're looking for a partner who can challenge you intellectually, a rationale might be the one.
Which leaves us with the idealists. You guessed it, our gatherers.
The idealists, the gatherers, yep, I see it. They're all about connection, empathy, making the world a better place.
They're the ones who are always there to lend a listening ear, offer a shoulder to cry on. They value connection, making a difference in the world.
They just radiate warmth and compassion. Okay, I am loving this whole Jungian connection. It adds a whole new layer to understanding these phenotypes.
It's like this fascinating feedback loop. Our ancient past shapes our personalities, which in turn shapes our relationships. It's mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing is right. So we've got these 4 phenotypes: evolutionary history, unique flavors of desirability, and even corresponding Jungian types. This is starting to feel like a pretty complete picture, but how do we use it? How can we use all this amazing information to understand ourselves and our love lives better? That's the million-dollar question.
Okay, at this point, you're probably wondering how to actually put all this fascinating information to use in your own life, right? Like, how does knowing about hunters and gatherers help me swipe right on the one?
Exactly. That's the million-dollar question.
Well, this is where the work of Dr. Helen Fisher comes in. She's a biological anthropologist who spent decades studying the science of love and attraction, and her research adds a whole new dimension to this whole phenotype thing.
Brain science and love. I am so here for it.
Her research suggests our brains are literally wired for love and connection. She's identified 4 brain systems, dopamine, serotonin, testosterone, and estrogen, that play a key role in shaping our romantic personalities and how we approach relationships. And get this, these brain systems align incredibly well with our 4 phenotypes and those Jungian temperaments we talked about.
Wait, are you saying our brain chemistry might actually influence whether we're drawn to stability or adventure?
You got it. It's like those ancient ways of life are still echoing through our veins, influencing everything from our career choices to who we swipe right on.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. Which brain system goes with which phenotype? I need to know.
Let's start with dopamine. Dr. Fisher calls people driven by this brain system explorers, and they share a lot in common with our pastoralist phenotype.
Explorers, pastoralists make sense. They're both all about new experiences, right? Always on the go.
They're energized by novelty, adventure, constantly seeking new experiences. Routine is their worst nightmare.
Totally. They're the ones who always want to try something new, travel to exotic places, live life on their own terms.
On the other end of the spectrum, we have the serotonin system. Dr. Fisher links this system to builders who, like our farmers, value calmness, stability, and tradition.
Okay, builders and farmers, they like things a little more predictable.
They crave predictability, loyalty, a deep sense of security, knowing what to expect.
They're the ones who find joy in routine, creating a cozy and stable home life. They're not afraid of commitment.
Now, let's talk about the testosterone system, which Dr. Fisher associates with directors. And this is where our hunters come in.
Directors, hunters, analytical, driven. Okay, I'm seeing the connection.
Both are analytical, driven, always up for a challenge, whether it's solving a complex problem or debating philosophy.
They're the ones who are always pushing boundaries, questioning assumptions, always striving to understand the world around them. And they probably love a good debate, am I right?
And in relationships, they bring that same intensity and intellectual curiosity, which leaves us with estrogen and negotiators.
Okay, I bet you I know where this is going. This is our gatherer crew, right? The feelers, the connectors.
You got it. Our gatherers, the empathetic, compassionate souls who prioritize connection and harmony above all else.
The negotiators, they're amazing at reading people, understanding their emotions, always striving to create a sense of peace and harmony. They're the glue that holds everything together.
So Dr. Fisher's research adds a biological understanding of why we are the way we are. It's not just our upbringing, but our brain chemistry might be predisposing us to certain ways of seeing the world and interacting with others.
Okay, this is all amazing, but how do we figure out our own type? Is there a test? Do we need to go back in time and live like our ancestors?
You don't have to time travel. There are a few different tools you can use. Dr. Fisher developed something called the Anatomy of Love test. It gives you insights into your dominant brain system and what it might mean for your love life. There's also the cherished temperament sorter, based on those Jungian types, and of course the classic Myers-Briggs type indicator.
Ah, Myers-Briggs, a classic. So we can use these tools to get a better understanding of our own love languages and what we're truly looking for in a partner.
Exactly. And remember those positive manifolds of desirability we talked about. Once you have a better sense of what you're looking for, you can approach dating with more awareness and intention.
It's like having a roadmap for love, knowing your destination and the best route to get there.
Before we wrap up, one final thought. We've been focusing on romantic relationships, but what about friendships? Do these phenotypic patterns show up there too?
Oh, that's a great point. Do we choose friends based on those ancient instincts too? I mean, I definitely feel drawn to people who share my values and worldview, but maybe there's more to it than that.
It's something to think about. The next time you connect with someone, whether it's a potential partner or a new friend, think about what drew you to them. Do they share your love of stability and tradition, or are they more of a free spirit who inspires you to step outside your comfort zone? This deep dive has been about exploring the hidden forces that shape our relationships. And while we've covered a lot of ground, we hope this is just the beginning. We encourage you to keep exploring, asking questions, and most importantly, keeping an open mind and heart as you navigate the beautiful, messy world of human connection. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time.